Ball and 1 strike. Bottom half of the third inning, Mariners lead this game 2-1 from Veterans Field. Base paths empty and 1 out. The 1-1 pitch, fastball, the lower part of the zone, and the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes on John Rave. Rave reached on a fielder's choice back in the first inning as the 1-2 pitch. Fastball in there for strike 3. Rave goes down, looking, and they're 2 away in the bottom half of the third.
That was just a good pitch scenario there with the fastball. He goes on the outside corner at the knees and goes right back on the inside corner. I don't think Rave was maybe expecting a fastball in on the hands there. And good job by DeVito really moving the pitches around from side to side of the plate, then coming right back inside and really locating well at the knees.
And the first pitch to the 3-hitter, Tristan English. Fastball for strike 1. English went down on strikes back in the first inning. And he's been a little bit hot and cold as of late. The 0-1 pitch misses low and outside, count 1-1. Hit the grand slam last time these two teams met, but overall in the last 19 at-bats, he has just 3 hits. The 1-1 pitch, check swing, but it's in the zone nonetheless, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes on the right-handed hitter. English restraps his batting gloves and steps back in from the right side. Base paths empty, 2 outs in the bottom half of the third inning. Mariners lead this game by 1. 0-2 pitch, cut on and fouled off as English just gets a piece of that ball. Takes a practice swing from outside the right-hander's batter's box. As Driscoll actually has a couple of words with English. They're ready to play on as Driscoll crouches down back behind home plate. A 1-2 delivery. Breaking ball cut on a high, pop up down the first base line. And that one's going to bounce foul as Lipsius and Rivera both gave chase on that ball, but neither one was able to get to it. And that's one of the things out in right field that the Mariners, they normally have Chris Gallen out there who has a ton of speed, and he's someone who maybe gets to some of those foul balls.
Yeah, it would have been a tough play. It just didn't get a lot of apex on, a lot of get in the air for very long. It came down very quick. And the way Rivera's playing out there in right field was a long way.
1-2 pitch, cut on, a ground ball over towards third. Shunk Fields throws across the diamond. And that will do it for the bottom half of the third inning. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Ricky DeVito, and after 3, it's the Mariners 2 and the Anglers 1. You're listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network.
And welcome back inside Veterans Field for the top half of the fourth inning. It is Eichhoff lead things off, Rivera on deck, and Driscoll in the hole. So the 6, 7, 8 hitters due up for the Mariners lead this game by a score of 2-1. after they scored 2 runs in the third pitch. The first pitch from Van Scoy misses in the dirt for a ball. Eichhoff was able to reach bases last time out with a walk. Eichhoff redoes his helmet, steps in from the left side, lefty-lefty matchup as the 1-0 pitch is swung on and fouled back into the screen as the count evens up at 1 ball and 1 strike. Van Scoy's pitch arsenal features a fastball, curveball type of action. He likes to mix his pitches very well as the 1-1 fastball is on the inside corner at the knees for a strike. As Eichhoff's down to the count now at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nobody on, nobody out here in the top of the 4th. 2-1 Mariners lead. The 1-2 to Eichhoff is swung on and lined off the top half of the screen on the third base side. So they'll do again at 1 and 2. Sun just starting to set now from Veterans Field. A nice little skyline out there. A nice little orange and blue. As the 1-2 curveball is just getting a piece as Eichhoff as he rolls it over towards the Mariners dugout. Last time we were in Veterans Field was about a 2,100, over 2,000. I think it was almost 2,500 people in the crowd here. Maybe more than that tonight as the curveball almost comes up and inside as Eichhoff. He has to duck to get out of the way as the count evens up now at 2 balls and 2 strikes on the left-hander. Van Scoy came in for Conlon last inning. As the 2-2 pitch to Eichhoff is once more fouled back into the screen behind his own plate.
And Conlon was charged with both of the runs for the Harwich Mariners. Van Scoy, for the most part, came in and pitched pretty well in relief.
As the 2-2 pitch is swung on and lined foul towards the bullpen area in right field. Once again, as a left-hander, you're tempted here at Veterans Field. Only 314 in right field onto the hill.
Yeah, it's very short out there in right field. And it's overall a pretty shallow ballpark. People don't normally talk about Veterans Field as a very shallow park.
As a 2-2 fastball's on the outside corner. And going down on strikes is Nate Eichhoff.
A lot of people talk about YD as a very shallow ballpark, but for the most part, Chatham is not very deep. Out in dead center field, it's 385, and in right center and left center, it's just 357. And down the line in right, you mentioned it, just 314 feet. And you look at other ballparks around the league like Wareham, and it's as much as 430, 440 feet out in center field. It's an extra 55 feet. So for the most part, Chatham's pretty shallow.
As a first pitch to Rivera is swung on and over towards shortstop, and Jones bobbles the ball and able to make the play, and Rivera is safe over at first base. I believe that might go down as an error.
And they're going to mark it down as an E6.
That'll be Jones's 6th error on the season. And it does go down as an error, as you said before. So we're on first now with 1 out here in the top half of the 4th inning. 2-1 Mariners lead. As Van Scoy's from the stretch here as he faces the left. Hey, Driscoll line back over to third base. Ramirez throws across the diamond over back to first to Bush. And as Driscoll line went over towards Ramirez at third, threw back on to first to Bush and able to retire Rivera as well. So a double play to end the top half of the 4th inning. As the Mariners still lead this one by a score of 2-1. You're listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. And welcome back inside Veterans Field for the home half of the fourth inning as a 2-1 Mariners lead over the Chatham Anglers. As will be the 4-5-6 hitters. Michael Bush set to lead things off from the left side for the Anglers. Ricky DeVito back on the bump for the Mariners as he pitched a 1-2-3 inning last inning. DeVito from the windup, the first pitch to Bush is fastball ground over towards the hole between first and second. Diving is Eichhoff, but able to make the play as we'll find the outfield grass in right field for a base hit. And Michael Bush is on.
The designated hitter from Georgia Tech, number 7, Kyle McCann.
So Bush is on with nobody out here in the bottom of the fourth. They look to try to tie things up at 2 as they trail the run. And it is the designator Kyle McCann, another left-hander.
And a good piece of hitting from Michael Bush through the hole on the right side. As you mentioned, just past the outstretched reach of Nate Eichhoff.
Bush off of first. DeVito from the windup facing left-hander McCann. The first pitch is cut on and missed just about it. Just a little bit in front was McCann.
And for the most part, these Chatham Anglers have been able to get their leadoff runners on base. In the first inning, they got a leadoff single from Greg Jones. In the second, a single from Kyle McCann. The only inning when they were not able to do so was in the top of the third when Greg Jones ground out to shortstop to lead things off. But back again here in the fourth, a single from Michael Bush for the Chatham Anglers.
As McCann was showing bunt, but able to pull it back in time for a ball. Canavan's back up at 1-1 on McCann as McCann readjusts his batting gloves and will step back in from the left side as he waves his bat over towards DeVito on the mound. Towards the back end of the batter's box on the left side, DeVito comes set. Looks over his shoulder toward Bush at first, kicks and deals as the 1-1 pitch bounced in the dirt. Nice scoop behind the plate by the catcher, Logan Driscoll. As McCann's ahead in the count now, 2 balls and 1 strike. McCann, who singled and scored back in the second inning, he has scored the only run for the Anglers this evening. As DeVito comes set, and time is called by home plate umpire Rick Emerson. Just right before DeVito was about to pitch that one. So DeVito will step off the mound for a second and will step back on the rubber. Count is 2 balls and 1 strike on McCann. Bush off of first after leadoff single. No outs here in the bottom of the fourth. 2-1 Mariners lead as the 2-1 pitch is spot on the outside corner for a strike. And shaking his head was Kyle McCann. A nice pitch by DeVito on the outside corner.
DeVito doing a really nice job mixing up his pitches. He's been doing well with his fastball overall. He's throwing at 91 and 94 tonight. He's also touched 96.
As the 2-2 curveball just misses a hair below the knees. And the count runs full now on McCann.
And when you're throwing so hard, it keeps the hitter off balance. He can't look curveball and still be able to catch up to the fastball.
DeVito went the curveball at the knees here. Let's see if he goes back to the fastball. The payoff pitch. Off-speed pitch, swung on and missed, and down on strikes goes McCann. As DeVito wins that battle this time around.
And such confidence from Ricky DeVito. You know, to have that ability to go with a breaking ball after you just missed the last 2 pitches with breaking balls and still have confidence you're going to get a swing and a miss out of McCann really shows what kind of position DeVito is in.
There's a lot of off-speed pitches in that at-bat alone. Stepping in now is Ben Ramirez, the left-hander, as he takes a first pitch fastball up in the zone for a ball. Ramirez singled in the second inning, but then was later picked off over at third. Ramirez out of Chula Vista, California, plays his college ball to USC. Coming into this game, he's batting .250. DeVito comes set on the mound. The 1-0 pitch, curveball again misses down in the zone for a ball. Count heads to 2-0. DeVito has been solid on the mound so far. Has only given up 1 run on 4 hits in 3 1/3 innings pitch, looking to continue that work here as he faces the left-hander Ramirez. Bush off at first. The 2-0 pitch again bounced in the dirt for a ball. Count runs to 3-0. So sun continues to set from Veterans Field as the lights begin to take full effect. Another large crowd here at a Veterans Field as the 3-0 pitch misses down and in for a ball, and a 4-pitch walk is given to the third baseman, Ben Ramirez. So the Anglers will have runners on first and second with 1 out in the bottom of the 4th. As look to try to tie this game back up at 2 as they trail 2-1.
And pitching coach Steve Gruenberg jogs out to the mound to have a meeting with Ricky DeVito, just telling him to calm down. There is no one else warming up in the bullpen for the Harwich Mariners right now. So we'll have to see if that changes. But DeVito is expected to at least go 4, and depending on what happens after that, we may see him out for the bottom of the 5th as well. Another note right there, it's a second walk from DeVito. Both of his walks have been on just 4 pitches. So, again, it seems like when he hasn't had the zone with an at-bat, he hasn't had it at all. But for the most part, he's looked pretty good, had decent control. What have you thought about his control so far tonight?
Well, I think it's been pretty good the way he's been able to move the fastball on both sides of the plate off speed as well, really changing the eye level on the hitters too. So I think so far, the 2 walks just out of sort, maybe not in the zone completely, is DeVito, but I think so far he's done a pretty good job not giving up a lot of free passes. As with 1 out, he runs on first and second. It is Rankin Woolley. He has one of the 2 walks issued by DeVito as the first pitch of Woolley. Curveball is on the outside corner at the belt for a strike. Woolley's playing second base this evening for the Anglers. Has a big RBI spot right here with 1 out and runners on first and second. As look to tie this game up at 2 as Woolley calls time. Maybe a bug went into his eye or something. So we're around the eye level area. And he'll step back in from the right side. Chatham wearing their home pinstripe blue and white uniforms. Harwich wearing their road grays. As the 0-1 pitch is now on the inside corner for a strike. Another off-speed pitch by DeVito. As quickly ahead now is DeVito at no balls and 2 strikes on Woolley. And that's a good sign as well, especially with only 1 out in the inning. Runners on first and second. Getting ahead in the count after walking Ramirez on 4 straight balls. Always good to see as the 0-2 from DeVito. Off-speed pitch runs outside for a ball. Does have a couple waste pitches here as he may be trying to get Woolley to swing at something out of the zone.
He also has had 4 strikeouts compared to the 2 walks, so he's been able to get his stuff working for the most part.
DeVito looks in for a sign from Driscoll, gets his sign, and now comes set. The 1-2 pitch. Curveball is swung on and fouled back out of play over the first base bleachers side. And they'll do again at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Only no RBIs on the season so far. 9 at-bats as the 1-2 pitch runs well outside for a ball. As making the quick stop was Driscoll behind the plate. Looks like a fastball might have just gone away, tailed away from DeVito. Count evens back up now at 2 balls and 2 strikes on the second baseman, Woolley.
And going back to control, he has 37 strikes compared to the 20 balls. And we've talked about this a little bit in the past. You want to have a ratio of 1.5 to 2.0 of strikes to balls.
That's a 2-2 pitch is swung on a backhanded play. As it hits off DeVito's glove, it kicks right to the first baseman, Lipsius, who steps on first base. So a quick reaction over there by DeVito as he perfectly pads it back to Lipsius.
Yeah, I have not seen a deflection quite like that, and I don't know if I've ever seen something quite that lucky for the Harwich Mariners, as it's a pretty hard-hit ground ball off the bat of Rankin Woolley, and initially the pitcher, DeVito, misses it, but then he clips it with his glove, and it deflects all the way over to first base. Lipsius is right there to pick it up, and he records the out. And now the training staff's going to go out to check on DeVito. This is the second time a ball has deflected off of DeVito tonight. There was an earlier play back in the 2nd inning when Ben Ramirez had a ground ball that deflected off of the pitcher Ricky DeVito, and the ball went into left field for a base hit. And there's no one warming up in the Harwich Mariners bullpen. So this is not at all a case of the pitcher having, any struggles at all. He's only 58 pitches into his outing, and these Mariners pitchers at this point in the season are generally going 85-plus pitches. So he's got another inning in him if he'd like. So if he's able to go, and it looks like Coach Englert, after checking on the pitcher DeVito,
As awfully is the first priority of Coach Englert. If anything is wrong with DeVito, is to take him out of the game because, you don't want to injure more, and it's just a summer league game, just for him to get exposure, not playing back at Seton Hall. But nice deflection by DeVito, right back to Lipsius, who actually threw over to third base to see if he could double up Bush over there at third. So nicely done by DeVito. So we're going to make that, I think, a 1-3 put out. So with 2 outs as the left-hander, he swings to the first pitch in between the hole and first and second, and for a base hit. 1 run is in. Coming around third now, the throw is to Driscoll, not in time. And if Driscoll throws the second base into the outfield, so advancing to third now is Blake Sable. We said before, Blake Sable is a Harwich Mariner killer, and he drives in 2, and then Driscoll tries to get Sable out over towards second as he took a turn over there, and ends up throwing it into center field, so Sable advances to third on the throwing error.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Blake Sable was a Mariner killer. He came into this game 4 for 5 against the Harwich Mariners. Well, make that 5 for 6, and he's added 3 RBIs to go right along with it. So now on the season, he's 5 for 6 with 4 RBIs against the Harwich Mariners pitching staff. And he cannot be happier to be facing off against these Mariners 3 more times this season.
So 2 runs come across, and thanks to the, double with an error by Sable, as the first pitch now to Jake Taylor bounces in the dirt for a ball, and now all of a sudden the Anglers lead this game by a score of 3-2, with Sable off at third base now in the bottom half of the 4th inning.
It all started with a single from Michael Bush, then he struck out McCann. Ramirez walked, and the 1-3 deflection with Rankin Woolley. All of a sudden, the runners in second and third with 2 outs, and a line drive through the right side from Blake Sable, plates 2, and the Anglers are on top 3-2 in the bottom of the 4th.
As the 1-0 pitch runs outside, a 2-0 from DeVito. Pitch is spot at the knees, but just misses a hair below for a ball count. Now runs to 3-0 on the 9-hole hitter, Jake Taylor.
And again, for the most part, I think that DeVito's had good control. He's looked pretty good on the mound. He's walked just 2 batters tonight. He has allowed 5 hits, but still, I think overall he has looked okay. He's had a good fastball.
As Taylor now jog over towards first base after DeVito unable to find the zone there. So Taylor's on base for the first time this evening. So now runners on the corners with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th inning. 3-2 Anglers lead. As now the top of the order comes back around. It is Greg Jones, the shortstop. The switch hitting shortstop, as will step in from left side.
You have to wonder if anything happened after he deflected that ball to first base, because the first pitch right afterwards was a line drive into right field for Sable.
As the first pitch comes in tonight, will go to the backstop, as scoring sliding in is Sable, so he'll come in to score. Taylor will advance towards second on the wild pitch. So make that 3-run score in this half inning, as now the Anglers lead 4-2 over the Harwich Mariners. As now there is some action down in the Mariners bullpen in right field.
And as I was saying before, the runner's on second and third with 2 outs right after that deflection, and then he has a single on the first pitch to Blake Sable, who then advances to third on the error, and then it's a 4-pitch walk to Jake Taylor, and the first pitch to Greg Jones is a wild pitch, and that's, now 6 consecutive pitches where DeVito has seemingly struggled after the deflection off of his glove, or wherever. I couldn't quite tell exactly where it deflected off him before it went over to first base.
At least it wasn't his pitching hand, as though it would have been words off his glove, as the 1-0 pitch. This is just a bit upstairs above the letters for a ball. Count is 2-0 on Jones, and as Joe LaSorsa in the bullpen for the Bears as he continues to warm up.
And now 6 consecutive balls thrown from Ricky DeVito as well.
So 2 outs, runner on second is Taylor. After he walked in advance on the wild pitches, the 2-0 swung on and line just in front of left fielder Norman, waving around third is Taylor as he'll come in to score, and then as an RBI single for the shortstop Greg Jones as Taylor came all the way around from second to score.
And it's just one tough inning for the pitcher, Ricky DeVito. And originally coming into this inning, it looked like everything was going quite well for the right-hander. Had allowed just 1 run in 3 innings of work, and he allowed the base hit to Bush, but after that there was 2 outs, runners on second and third. There was an opportunity for him to get out of this inning, having not allowed a single run, but things have spiraled over the last 4 hitters.
And it's almost a repeat of what happened back on July 3rd over back at the White House Field, where the Mariners came into the 6th inning holding a 5-2 lead, and then Anglers putting up a 6th spot on the board. And after that, they just took off and ended up winning that game by a score of 13-6 over the Harwich Mariners. And again, it's just one big inning for Chatham so far. They've scored 4 of their 5 runs here this half inning in the 4th inning.
And looking ahead towards the postseason, it's a little ways away, but we are in the second half of the season now. And the Harwich Mariners are yet to beat the YD Red Sox. And they're also 0-2 so far versus Chatham, and they're losing in tonight's game. And you have to wonder, if the Mariners are the 2 seed or the 3 seed or wherever they end up falling, they're probably going to have to play the Chatham Anglers or the YD Red Sox in the first round. And that's going to be an awfully tough matchup.
As Coach Engler comes out, as Driscoll came up before, and I think it was just to get things going, as Joe LaSorsa looks like he'll be running in from the right field pen. And just talking about the playoffs and stuff like that, just the collection of teams the Mariners have just been able to beat. They've beaten the Firebirds 3 times. They're 3-0 against Orleans. We'll be back there later this week.
And they're 2-0 versus Brewster as well. And they're
0-3. They're 0-3 against Hyannis, 0-3 against YD, and they're so far 0-2 against Chatham. So again, it's just a collection of teams that has been unable to beat, but against other teams as well, like Falmouth, who's been red hot as of late. They're able to I believe they're 3-0 against Falmouth as well.
That's right. The Mariners swept Falmouth on the road, and then the Mariners won the only home game they played against the Falmouth Commodores.
And then against Bourne, they're 1-1-1 against. And then,
yeah, as you mentioned, they lost versus Hyannis the first time 5-3. And then they played Hyannis again, and they lost 2-0 before losing 2-1 to Hyannis. They're 0-3 against them, as you noted earlier, versus Wareham. The Mariners are 1-1. They ended up beating the Wareham Gatemen at home. But again, there are some teams that they have been able to beat, and there are others that they have just found no success against.
So again, 8 of their wins have come from, 8 out of 11 have come from Orleans, Brewster, and Falmouth.
1-0-1 against Bourne as well. And so again, when you look at the standings, and it's an interesting situation because a lot of times people will, say at the beginning of a season, whether it's professional sports or lower level sports than that, and fans look at a season, they'll say, okay, this is a game we should be able to win. These are games you should, and they're usually the games that you should be able to win are against the teams that aren't quite as good, and the games you have more trouble against, the teams that are generally better, and that's sort of what we're seeing with the Harwich Mariners. Oftentimes in professional sports, it's one team has no more than a 55 or 60% chance of winning any given game. So even if you're playing a good team, you're going to win a lot of those games still. But that really hasn't happened for the Harwich Mariners this season against really good teams, whether it be against Hyannis, YD, and Chatham, and those are 3 really good teams they're 0-9 against. And then you look against teams like Falmouth. When the Mariners played Falmouth, they were struggling, to be quite fair. Orleans and Brewster, those are 3 of the bottom teams in the Cape League, and they're 8-0 against those teams. So it has seemed like the better the team the Mariners have faced, the more trouble they've found against teams that are lesser teams in the league. They found a lot more success.
So as that boded well from against the top half of the table, as Joe LaSource, the left-hander, will come on for Ricky DeVito, so his evening is done. This is a matchup here as he'll face the left-hander John Ray from the left side after Greg Jones's RBI single.
So the final line on Ricky DeVito, 3 2/3 innings of work, 6 hits, 5 runs, just 3 earned, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Now he still is responsible for the runner on first base.
And there are 2 outs here as the first pitch misses up in the zone for a ball. LaSorsa comes set, and as Jones heads towards second, ball misses downstairs. As a throw down from Driscoll is not in time as Greg Jones is able to hang on as he slid behind the base. But he'll keep his hand in touch with second base. He'll pick up a stolen base and make that number 10 on the season as he continues to stretch that lead on the stolen base column. As he has said before, he is the leader in the Cape League in stolen bases. And with a left hander on the mound, too, he's still to beat that throw down. As the 2-0 now curveball just misses the outside of corner. Count runs to 3 balls and no strikes on the number 2 hitter, John Rave.
It's always good to steal second, especially with 2 outs, and put yourself in a scoring position instead of an extra base hit needed for you to score. Now a simple bloop single into right field, center field should be enough to score another run.
As Lasorsa throws his first strikeout of the evening as a fastball at the belt. Count is 3-1 here with 2 outs. Jones off of second base. 5-2 Anglers lead over the Harwich Mariners. Lasorsa looks back. Jones at second, kicks and deals the 3-1. Is swung on and popped out of play behind home plate. So count runs full as Lasorsa has done a nice job to come back here against number 2 hitter John Rave. So full count on Rave. Lasorsa gets his side, kicks and deals. The 3-2 is swung on a line, a one hopper over towards Eichhoff, and it eats him up. He's able to keep it in play though, as running towards home is Jones. The throw is not in time, and able to slide behind the tag of Driscoll was Greg Jones, and the Speedster just flies into home plate.
Wow, I thought the call was going to be out at home plate. Eichhoff had trouble with the ball over at second base on a one hopper, and then he ended up getting back to his feet, picking up the ball, and he picks up the ball just as Rave is rounding third base, as Jones is rounding third base, and he throws home, and he has Jones beaten, and it looked like Driscoll got the tag down, but he's called safe at home plate. What were your thoughts on that turn of events, Thomas?
Well, it was a tough play for Eichhoff at second base, and it was a good strong throw from Eichhoff. I think the speed of Jones just beat the tag of Driscoll there. So another run plates across for the Anglers as the first pitch in the dirt is swung on and missed by Tristan English as the Anglers stretch it out to now 6-2 lead over the Harwich Mariners. They scored 5 runs in this bottom half of the 4th inning.
So that run will go down as unearned against DeVito as it goes down as an error against Eichhoff.
As the 0-1 pitch is chopped back to Lasorsa. He'll scoop it up and throw it on the first underhand toss, and English is retired, but not before the Chatham Anglers put up 5 runs in the bottom of the 4th, and they take the lead as they lead this one by a score of 6-2. At the end of 4 innings, you listen to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. And welcome back inside Veterans Field for the top half of the 5th inning as the 9-1-2 due up for the Harwich Mariners. As Greg Jones has been substituted from the game and might have gotten injured after that slide into home plate, as is Brandon Fryman playing shortstop now, and Ben Norman will step in from left-hander's batter's box facing the left-hander Van Scoy, and the first pitch is cut on a miss by Norman. Norman, who singled and came around to score back in the 3rd inning. Norman steps out for a second, will step back in as the 0-1 from Van Scoy is swung on and chopped over towards the right side of Wool. He'll pick it up, throw on the run is in time, as holding on over at first was Bush, as Woolley came around the ball from the right side and throw on the run to get the speedy Norman. And there is one out here in the top half of the 5th inning. And with one away is the the top of the order comes back around as the shortstop Tanner Morris. He's 1 for 2 this evening as a first pitch fastball just misses off the plate and below the knees for a ball.
A little bit of a lucky hit back in the top of the third inning from Morris.
As the 1-0 pitch misses again, a 4-ball. Count runs 2-0 on the left-hander.
Bit of a pop-up down the third base line, and the pitcher at the time, Conlon and Taylor, sort of came in on that ball and tried to make a play on it. Both of them did. They both dove, and neither one came up with it, and allowed Tanner Morris to reach first base safely with a base hit.
As the 2-0 pitch is in there for a strike, Van Scoy now the 2-1 pitch is swung on and popped up on the line towards the in the third base corner and is in for it's a fair ball as Morris will cruise into second base.
I believe that's a ground rule double. I think it went foul down that left field line after it bounced in fair territory, and once it goes foul and out of play, then it's what's known as, of course, the ground rule double, not the automatic double when it bounces and then goes over the fence. It's the misconceptions you were talking about before in terminology with baseball.
So Morris is in scoring position with 1 out here at the top of the 5th as the Mariners try to chip back into this game as they trail 6-2, and is the right-hander Matt Gorski facing left-hander Van Scoy. First pitch runs just a bit inside for a ball.
And we've seen these Mariners teams be resilient and come back in these games, and they absolutely have another opportunity to do so tonight. They're only down by 4 runs. It's not that late, and they got an opportunity to come back in this game and possibly, tie it or come back and win it. We saw it versus Orleans, and it's still pretty early.
Van Scoy comes, set, kicks, and deals. There's a big swing and a miss from the right-hander Matt Gorski. County of it's back up now at 1 ball and 1 strike. On the center fielder, he put a perfect bunt down his last time out, a sacrifice bunt and a walk back in the first, so he's now recorded a plate appearance so far in this game. As Van Scoy comes set as the 1-1 over the top curveball just misses a bit high and outside. Gorski's ahead in the count now, 2-1. Van Scoy really likes to mix his pitches between the fastball and the curveball. Looks back Morris a couple times and fires toward him. So it was a 2-1 pitch is swung on and missed by Gorski. Pitch that was on the outer half and a little bit up. As Gorski tried to elevate it. Gorski
actually yet to have an actual at-bat in tonight's game. He walked back in the first and had a sacrifice bunt in the third inning. Neither of those count as at-bats, both plate appearances.
As the 2-2 pitch is swung on and fouled back into the screen. He'll do it again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Morris off of second after his double with 1 out. Gorski 2-2 count on him. 6-2 Anglers lead as the 2-2 pitch runs outside and gets away from the catcher Taylor, but holding up at second is Tanner Morris.
Yeah, it's an interesting decision by Morris. I think that it didn't get far enough away from the catcher Taylor for him to make a play trying to head over to third base. And he had a relatively large secondary lead, and I think if he had gone right when Taylor dropped the ball, he would have been fine. But I think it oftentimes you don't recognize that it gets away from the catcher until the ball's already on the ground and he's picking it up. At that point, it's too late.
As a 2-2 pitch is swung on a little bit late and down the first base side on the ground. Count runs 2 balls. Count runs full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The count is full on Gorski with 1 out, right around second base. And if you're Morris, you got to read it out of the hand if anything does get away. As the 3-2 is swung on a high pop-up over towards the first base side, and it will just find the bleachers down there. As giving it a look was the first baseman Bush and the right fielder Tristan English.
And Matt Gorski continues to work this count. We've seen a couple of deep counts from him in the past. He walked on 8 pitches back in the top of the first inning, and it's pitch number 9 of the at-bat here in the top of the 5th.
Van Scoy comes set. The 3-2 pitch, curveball is swung on and popped up just behind home plate. And it'll just bounce a few feet behind us.
And this is just the second time this season we've had an at-bat in Harwich get to double digits in pitches. Saw one about a week ago in Katuitt.
Saw it a few games ago too, I believe, from Chris Galland. Count runs full on Gorski. Pitch misses a bit outside, and Gorski able to work a great at bat and will earn a walk, and he definitely earns that one.
Oh, absolutely. Took 10 pitches, and eventually Van Scoy is forced to walk Matt Gorski.
So now runners on first and second with one out here in the top half of the fifth inning. It is the number 3 hitter Aaron Shunk who has driven in one of 2 runs this evening for the Mariners. I mean, he keeps saying every single game he's a guy that can just drive in runs. He's got another RBI opportunity here as the first pitch runs upstairs in the zone for a ball on the third baseman.
And you have to wonder what kind of an impact that 10-pitch walk has on Van Scoy. Now that he's finished with it, you know, he worked long and hard to try to get Gorski out, and he doesn't get the out. Now he's forced to face off against the middle of this Mariners order, the 3 and 4 guys coming up next.
As the 1-0 to Shunk runs well outside again, as nice stop by Taylor. He's like a cat back there, able to sprawl and stack it in the air. As now have a talk with his left-hander pitcher Van Scoy.
And this is an important point in the ball game because the Mariners have 2 runners on base. They've got the middle of their order coming up. They have an opportunity to cut into this Anglers lead and possibly cut this from a 4-run lead to a 2-run game and to put them right back into this game. And we'll have to see what happens, but you know, they've got a real shot here in the top of the 5th.
As now there will be a meeting on the mound for the Anglers as Taylor will walk out back towards the pitcher's mound. It looks like, I believe, the pitching coach.
Yeah, with runners on first and second, it's still mid-count, so they're trying to make sure he's okay, especially after that really long at-bat versus Gorski, and then he throws 2 consecutive balls, one that misses wildly outside. Make sure that he's under control.
And maybe if the, you know, from the dugout area too, if they saw something, I just want to mention it to Van Scoy. It's a 2-0 count on the right-handing hitting third baseman Aaron Shunk. He steps out for a second. Will tap his bat on his spikes, and we'll set to do work back in from the right side. Van Scoy comes set. The 2-0 pitch. Pitch just misses a hair upstairs for a ball. Count runs to 3-0.
It's got to be tough for a pitcher again with this mentality right now, and he misses that just up and outside. Probably misses the zone by maybe 2 inches.
So 3-0 the count on Shunk. Runners on first and second, 1 out. 6-2 Anglers lead as the fastball runs well upstairs again. And taking his base is Aaron Shunk. So now the bases are loaded. So after the ground out by Norman, a double from Morris, he now advances to third. Matt Gorski, who walked his last time out after a great at-bat, is now on second, and Aaron Shunk just working a walk.
And I mentioned the importance at this point in the game. I think it's just become that much more important because this could be a turning point in the game. If the Mariners are able to put a run or 2 on the board, at least that puts them back within a couple of runs. They'll have an opportunity coming into the latter innings. But if the Mariners are unable to score here, that could be a turning point in favor of the Anglers. They have a 4-run lead that just puts them further in the driver's seat, and it's going to hurt the confidence of the Harwich Mariners.
As Andre Lipsius takes a swing of the first pitch and gets a piece of it and fouls it back into the screen.
But it's not going to be easy for Van Scoy because he's got a tough part of the lineup. It's the 4-hitter Lipsius, who's followed by Casals, and then it will be Eichhoff at 6.
So 6-2 Anglers lead here in the top of the 5th. Bases are loaded with 1 out facing Andre Lipsius. The 0-1 curveball is at the knees for a strike. As now Van Scoy is ahead in the count 0-2 on Lipsius. Lipsius, who flew out back in the first inning, able to get a sacrifice fly in the third. He drove in the other run for the Mariners this evening as the curveball bounced in the dirt and gets away from the catcher Taylor, but just not far enough for Morris to score. Count is 1-2 now on Lipsius, the first baseman. He's played a little bit of a shortstop this season, well, and first base. As of late, as I said before, has really provided some offense for the Mariners, including a home run these 2 teams last met. As the 1-2 pitch misses off the plate for a ball count, runs even at 2-2.
Awfully close pitch, and it's lucky for Lipsius there. You know, he opts not to try to protect the plate on that pitch. And Van Scoy doesn't get the strikeout.
The 2-2 pitch runs off the plate again, outside for a ball count, runs full on Lipsius, and Van Scoy is in danger of walking in a run here with the count at 3-2.
And I think you have to be protective if you're Lipsius, but if you see something off the plate, you want to take that pitch and take the walk.
The 3-2 pitch is swung on and fouled on the ground down the third base side.
And Lipsius probably wants that one back. He could have taken that pitch as it was low, but he opts to protect the plate, and that's what you want to do as a hitter, though. You want to make sure that if it's anything close, you're swinging that bat and keeping yourself alive.
So Van Scoy gets the sign from Taylor. The payoff pitch is fastball roped over towards the first baseman. And not sure if he caught that in the air, as there's a lot of confusion.
No.
There was nothing.
And it is a mixed calls from the umpire. So this is what we have right now. The first base umpire did not have an initial signal on the line drive to first base. Now that ball's caught by Bush. Bush claims he caught the ball out of the air. The third base umpire says no, he trapped that ball. And as a result, it's not a double play when he steps on first base. The first base umpire did not really make any specific signal other than the fact that when he tapped his foot on first base, it was an out, but it's an out regardless. Because if he taps his foot on first base and he traps that ball, then he just gets the out at first because Lipsius is out at first. But it's also an out at first base if it's a double play. So the fact that the first base umpire put his arm up after touching first base only signals as much as there's an out at first base from either one of the two force plays. So that's not actually all that specific. The only play we have for sure is a call from the third base umpire when he put his arms out saying safe. That means that the ball was trapped on the ground and the run scores. So this is an important part in this ball game because the three umpires are now going to come together and make a decision as to whether or not that ball was trapped or if it was caught on a line.
Especially the first base umpire, he would have the view to kind of make that call. I think that the best would be if you're behind home plate or even at third base. You could see that as well, and also you can maybe hear the sound too if someone traps the ball and scoops it on a one hopper. And if you're Bush, you played exactly how you wanted to. You make it look like you caught the ball in the air, ran over towards first base. And this, you said before, this is a big opportunity here. You know, big call coming up, as that could be either a double play to end the inning, or maybe one run comes in, runners on second and third with 2 outs, and Danny Casals coming up.
Oh, absolutely. And if this is called a run for the Harwich Mariners, then one swing of the bat with the base hit could make this a one-run ball game. It's that important. And instead of it being a 4-run game, this game could be significantly changed. I don't think all that many people on this field, aside from the first baseman, Michael Bush, really know what happened there. It was so close.
And so the market as safe. So it will be just a fielders, it will just be a put out over at first base. So a run will score on the play. So Andre Lipsius is out at first. So now runners on second and third as Morris came in to score. Gorski advances to third and Shunk is on second.
And this ball game just became a lot more interesting with that call. And that's hugely in favor of the Harwich Mariners because instead of having an ending double play, you mentioned it, it's a 3-run game, and the Mariners have an opportunity to cut this lead to as little as 1, or with one swing of that, it could be even a tie game, as that's what Danny Casals represents at the plate. But it looks like we have a pitching change from Veterans Field. We'll step aside and be back after this.
And welcome back from inside the Veterans Field. So Van Scoy will depart after 2 1/3 innings pitched, and the new pitcher is Zach King on the mound, the left-hander out of Vanderbilt.
Yeah, he's had 2 appearances on the season. He pitched versus Harwich back on June 30th. He had 3 innings of work, allowed 1 earned run and 2 hits. He was awfully good in that performance. And his first appearance on Cape Cod was versus Bourne, and he struggled in that game. He pitched 2 innings of work, allowed 3 earned runs, 3 hits, and a walk. So we'll have to see how he's able to do tonight because his first 2 outings have been polar opposites.
So with runners on second, third, and 2 outs, those 2 runners belong to Van Scoy as the left-hander Zach King on the mound. Now he'll go from the stretch facing the right-hander Danny Casals. Casals, who is 0 for 2 this evening, looks to change his fortunes here and drive in maybe a pair of runs with 2 outs. 6-3 Anglers lead as the first pitch fastball misses off the plate for a ball.
We'll have to see how interested Zach King is to pitch to Danny Casals. Danny Casals is hitting pretty well right now, and first base is open. We'll have to see if he's going to have to pitch to Casals or look to let him go on base.
As the 1-0 is swung on and missed by Casals, count evens back up at 1-1.
And Eichhoff has been really hot and cold this year. Again, he started off the season, he was very cold, and then he came on and was on fire. But he's cooled off recently, and he's on deck.
So 1 run already across this inning, and thanks to the Lipsius ground ball over at first base, and a fastball spotted at the belt for a strike count is 1 ball and 2 strikes on the right-handing DH this evening, Kenny Casals. King ahead in the count 1-2. King gets his sign, comes set from the stretch. The 1-2 pitch. Pitch just misses a bit outside for a ball. Chad on his bench wanted that one, but the count is back up at 2-2.
He had a big double here last time these 2 teams faced off at Veterans Field. So Mariners could use one of those right now.
So with 2 outs, the 2-2 pitch to Casals. Pitch is swung and fouled back into the screen, and we said before, we said this many times this season, Casals is a guy that I think feels comfortable hitting with 2 strikes. He's a guy that can really work the count, and he's worked a ton of walks this year for the Mariners. So for the Mariners, like this, has the second most walks this season.
He actually leads the team in walks with 13. He's second only is Lipsius.
As the 2-2 curveball gets away and coming towards home is Gorski, and he'll come in standing up. So
that's a big run for the Harwich Mariners, and a bad mistake by the catcher Taylor, and miscommunication with the pitcher Zach King in that situation. I think that he just sort of crossed up the catcher there, and the Mariners end up getting a run out of it. And you mentioned hitting well with 2 strikes, and Casals has as many strikeouts as he has walks, so he's been very, very effective in that category.
So count runs full with 1 run, another run across, runner on third now with 2 outs. The payoff pitch to Casals, pitch is cut on and missed. And Casals goes down on strikes for the second time this evening, but the Mariners do get 2 runs in this inning on the wild pitch and a ground out by Lipsius, able to score 1. So they cut the deficit in half as they now lead, or now trail by a score of 6-4 after 4.5. You're listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. And welcome back inside of Veterans Field for the latter half of the 5th inning as a 6-4 Anglers lead. Joe LaSorsa back on the mound for the Mariners, and he'll have to face 3 straight left-handers, and LaSorsa left-hander, of course, so good matchup here for LaSorsa.
And it's 2 huge runs in the top of the 5th inning for the Harwich Mariners. They have the bases loaded and 1 out.
First pitch to Bush is cut on and a miss.
And I stated at that point in the game, it could be a turning point. The Mariners able to put a run or 2 on the board. All of a sudden, they're going to have an opportunity in the latter innings to come back in this game.
As the 0-1 fastball misses inside, as dodging out of the way, it was Michael Bush. So Countyman's back up at 1-1 on the left-hander. He taps home plate twice. Working quickly as a source as the off-speed pitch catches the outside corner for a strike. Count is 1-2, and that's something we didn't see last time. These last 2 teams faced when Joe LaSorsa was pitching. His off-speed pitch just wasn't working as well as it has been tonight, as the 1-2 curveball misses low below the knees for a ball. Count is 2-2 now on the left-handed hitting Bush. Bush, who's playing first base, try to get that double play last half inning as a 2-2 pitch in on the hand. Strike 3. Swing on and missed. As Bush goes down swinging for the first out.
And coming into that appearance versus Chatham, LaSorsa had been outstanding. He pitched 2 1/3 innings versus Bourne, 2 innings versus Bourne again, and then 2 innings versus Orleans. Had allowed a total of 3 hits, no earned runs. So it looked like he was outstanding. And then versus Chatham was 1 2/3 innings of work, allowed 7 earned runs. And it looks like his stuff is significantly better tonight, though.
And to combat the left-hander LaSorsa, Coach Tom Holliday will go to the bench and use the right-handed hitting Adam Fogel. So we'll come in off the bench and we'll step in for the right-handed batter's box. LaSorsa lefty-righty matchup. First pitch fastball misses low and outside for a ball. LaSorsa is kind of a guy who likes to work quick, gets his sign, really take off as the 1-0 pitch is fouled back into the screen. Count is 1 ball and 1 strike on the right-hander. And Cal McCann, who was substituted, was a designated hitter, so Fogel will more than likely slide in at DH as the 1-1 pitch is swung on and fouled back over the first base bleachers and out of play.
And Fogel has not had all that many at-bats so far on Cape Cod, just 28. In the 2 games played versus the Mariners, he has had a total of 3 plate appearances, 0 for 1 with 2 walks.
The 1-2 fastball runs just a bit up and away for a ball. Count is 2-2 on the right-hander. 1 out, nobody on. 6-4 Anglers lead. After 2-2 pitches fouled back into the swing, just getting a piece was Adam Fogel, so they'll do it again at 2-2.
He's coming in as a pinch hitter in a number of games this season, sometimes late in a ball game. This time for a favorable matchup with the left-handed relief pitcher Joe LaSorsa.
So Sun is practically sitting here from Veterans Field. Strike 3 on the inside corner. The 2-2 off-speed pitch catches the inside half, and not liking the call is Adam Fogel. And Joe LaSorsa starts his 5th inning. Starts the 5th inning with back-to-back strikeouts.
Yeah, really, really good pitches from Joe LaSorsa. The last one with a nice breaking ball, and it just clips the inside corner.
As a first pitch 2-seam fastball just misses above the letters for a ball on the third baseman, Ben Ramirez, who digs in from the left side.
And it looks like he has his stuff from those first 3 games he played.
As the 1-0 is swung on a short dribble over towards first, ellipse is covering as LaSorsa able to step on the bag. Ramirez is retired, so a 1-2-3 inning by LaSorsa. As Ramirez will come back to bat and try to maybe tie things up. As after 5 complete innings, it is the Anglers 6 and the Harwich Mariners 4. Listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. And welcome back inside Veterans Field for the top half of the sixth inning as a 6-4 ball came in favor of the Chatham Anglers. Always a picturesque setting here from Veterans Field as you get a nice little skyline with the sun setting. As leading off is the second baseman, Nate Eichhoff. He's 0 for 1 this evening with a walk. Zach King back at it on the hill for the Anglers as a first pitch fastball spot on the inside half of the plate for a strike on the left-handed hitting Eichhoff.
And Alan Van Scoy's night is officially done. He threw 2 1/3 innings of work, 1 hit, 2 runs, just 1 earned, 2 walks and 2 strikeouts.
As the 0-1 pitch to Eichhoff is swung on and on the hands there was just muscled out towards the third base coach's box. Foul. So Canada's 0-2 on Eichhoff. Eichhoff readjusts his batting gloves, will tap his helmet once more and will step in back into the left side. King ahead in the count. The 0-2 pitch. Curveball almost hits Eichhoff as he backs off and it will trickle to the backstop. Count is 1-2.
The Bugs have come alive at Veterans Field this evening.
I haven't felt any yet, so.
I think I was just bitten a couple of times.
King from the windup. The 1-2 to Eichhoff. Pitch bounced in the dirt and a good block by Taylor. Fastball fell just a few feet short. As the count is even back up at 2-2 with nobody on, nobody out here in the top half of the sixth inning. Mariners trying to maybe get another 2 back after they scored 2 runs in the top of the fifth to cut the deficit in half. As they only trailed 2 runs by a score of 6-4. The 2-2 from King is swung on and fouled back in the screen once more. Eichhoff putting up a good battle here against left-hander Zach King. He's throwing a couple pitches, mostly primarily fastballs in this count to Eichhoff. The 2-2 once more to Eichhoff is swung on and slapped foul down the first base side towards the bullpen area. Eichhoff will step out of the batter's box and will step back in. King gets his sign from Taylor. The 2-2 from the windup to Eichhoff. Curveball is swung on and fouled right off the press box area. As kids are just scurrying after the ball, and one took a spill, but that's always a scene of these Cape League games. I was growing up too, and I used to just go chase those foul balls. I didn't care what was in my way. I was getting that foul ball.
The ball at the top of the press box, or at least that's what I thought it did. And I ducked. I was worried it was going to come down and hit me. And it bounced probably about 15 feet behind our table.
As the 2-2 to Eichhoff is swung on and a high fly ball into straightaway center. Moving to his right is Rave, and Eichhoff is retired for out number 1.
Mariners just down by 2, though. They still have an opportunity. They still have, 11 outs. Try to manufacture 2 runs, and these Mariners bats, at least in some parts of the order especially, have been alive and well. Morris with 2 hits already on the day, and the 9-hitter, even Ben Norman, has a single, and then Matt Gorski a couple of walks. Aaron Schunk a couple of hits, and same with Andre Lipsius. He's driven in a couple of runs as well. So again, the 1 through 4 spots in this Mariners order have been red hot.
As Javeri takes a first pitch. Austin pitching there for a strike, and then fouls tip the 0-1 into the mid of Taylor, so he's down the count now 0-2 on the left-handing Zach King. King from the windup, the 0-2 to Rivera. Just misses a bit above the letters for a ball. Count is 1-2. Now Rivera, nobody on with 1 out here in the top of the 6th. 6-4 Anglers lead over the Mariners. Gabe Rivera so far struck out in the second and reached on an error. As the 1-2 misses it off the plate and shifting his body was Taylor to go and reach and get that one. So count it's back up at 2-2. Rivera waits the 2-2 pitch. Left-hander Zach King. Pitch is reached over and swung on out of play. Rivera just trying to foul that one off, not trying to put it in play. And they'll do it again at 2-2. So Zach King, who has had to work a little bit this inning to record a couple outs. Eichhoff put a good at bat, and now Rivera trying to do the same as the 2-2 pitch once more is on the inside half, strike three, and Rivera goes down looking. So King located that fastball right on the inside corner, and it catches Rivera looking, as now there are 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. Nobody on for the catcher, Logan Driscoll, who will set to do things from the left side. Sporting his Harwich Mariners Franklin batting gloves. First pitch from King, off-speed pitch, check swing by Driscoll. But I believe he went around, so count is 0-1. Looks like he wasn't expecting an off-speed pitch there and got caught in front, as once more another off-speed pitch by King. As a wave and a miss by Driscoll, count is 0-2.
And Logan Driscoll is someone who hit over 350 back at George Mason. He's just waiting for his swing and his average to start ticking upwards.
As the 0-2 from King is swung on, and a grab over towards short. Fryman picks it up, throw on to first. A scoop job by Bush over at first, and Driscoll is retired. So a 1-2-3 inning worked by Zach King that included a punch out. So after 5.5 innings, it is the Chatham Anglers 6 and the Harwich Mariners 4. Listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. And welcome back inside Veterans Field for the bottom half of the 6th inning, as the Anglers lead this one by a score of 6-4. They scored 5 in the 4th, which has provided most of their run support this evening, as Joe Lasorsa back on the mound as a first pitch fastball to the second baseman Rankin Woolley misses for a ball up and away. Woolley so far walked and grounded out.
And we mentioned Rankin Woolley, somebody who was at a community college last year, Chattahoochee Valley Community College. He had 460 there, had an on-base percentage over 500, 11 homers, and 93 RBIs.
As a 2-0 is in there for a strike. On the second baseman, Woolley. Lasorsa so far an inning and a third scoreless. As the 2-1 pitch is lifted out of play towards the first base side. And after ahead in the count, 2-0, Woolley finds himself at an even count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nobody on, nobody out here in the bottom. A 6-6-4 Anglers lead. And it's a 2-2 once more, is lifted out of play towards the parking lot area down there.
Now, I parked my car down the left field line, not behind home plate.
I usually park my behind home plate. You don't usually find a lot of balls that go that far, as there is a lot of grass to cover it. And once more, the 2-2 pitch is fouled back out of play. Now, if I was a fan, I usually park in the Trade Museum parking lot over in right field. next to the fire station. As a 2-2 pitch cut on and missed, and Woolley goes down on strikes. As Lasorsa has struck out 3 of the last 5 hitters he has faced. As now it is the number 8 hitter, Blake Sable, who, again, said before, is the Harwich Mariner killer because he has just done everything to get his way. He came to this game with 4 for 5 with a home run. In this game, he has a sac fly in the second and an RBI double in the fourth. As first pitch curveball's in there for a strike on Sable.
I counted 2 actually RBIs in that play, so it was he's got 3 already in the game plus the home run beforehand. That's 4 RBIs and 5 for 6 versus Mariners pitching staff. And you mentioned Mariners killer. He is absolutely that.
As the off-speed pitch got Sable swinging again, so Lasorsa doing a good job. It's a lefty-lefty matchup. Count is 0-2 on Sable. As the 0-2 pitch is cut on a miss, he swung through that one. And down on strikes goes Sable. And that was not a pretty swing by Sable. And that was a great curveball there. It's tough as a left-hander, a left-handed hitter, to try to hit that curveball against a left-handed pitcher. So back-to-back strikeouts to start things off in the 6th, and there's 2 outs with nobody on. Lasorsa looking to pitch another scoreless half inning. First pitch fastball just misses down the zone for a ball to the 9-hitter, the catcher, Jake Taylor.
And this is a lineup with a lot of left-handed hitters in it. They were originally supposed to start against DeVito, who they did, and you know it was effective with the left-handed batters against the right-handed pitcher DeVito, but now with the lefty coming in, it's that much more difficult.
So the fastball's on the outside corner. 4-strike count is 1-1 as from the windup, Lasorsa. Pitch misses up and away. Out of zone for a ball. Count is 2 balls and 1 strike on Taylor. The 2-1 out just misses a bit inside, up and inside for a ball. Count is 3 balls and 1 strike as Taylor before was asking time from the home plate umpire. As Lasorsa sometimes will almost start his windup when the batter's just settling in. As the 3-1 pitch is lofted over the first base bleachers side again, and count is 3 balls and 2 strikes on Taylor.
One of those guys who likes to work very quickly, keep the batter off balance.
Ziozik's also the kind of guy who likes that too. There's a 3-2 fastballs at the knees, but able to lay off as Driscoll held that one for a few extra seconds, but Rick Emerson says it misses out of the zone. I'm sure if I was the catcher, Driscoll, I'd ask him, where did that one miss? It was a good pitch by Lasorsa, just didn't get the call.
These Mariners catchers are working on that a lot of times before the game. Coach Englert will work with the catchers on drills like weighted ball drills and drills just like that will help the catchers be able to frame those low pitches more effectively.
So with 2 outs, there is a man on after a walk. Lasorsa fires a first pitch fastball, just misses a little bit out of the zone for a ball.
And those drills are supposed to help pitches just like that one, and it seems like the catcher Driscoll actually did a pretty nice job framing that pitch, but home plate umpire Rick Emerson just wouldn't give him the call.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that you can really help that pitch frame as the 1-0 pitch is cut on and missed. And, you know, sometimes if the pitcher just misses, is spotted, you can shift your body to make the ball in the mid when it catches in at the center of your body, so the umpire will be more than likely to call it a strike. Or trying to stick it, as they call it, as the 1-1 pitch misses low and outside again for a ball. Count is 2-1 on Brandon Fryman, who came in for Greg Jones, who I believe might have been injured after he slid into home plate. So Fryman getting his first plate appearance this evening here in the 6th. He's had the count 2-1, and he'll take a fastball down the middle for a strike. Count is evens back up at 2-2.
Lasorsa now throwing 40 pitches on the evening, 24 strikes, 16 balls. He's had pretty good command.
The 2-2 pitch from Lasorsa misses down. Another throw down from Driscoll. We're back towards first. Back in time, though, is Jake Taylor. We've seen the Mariners catchers this year not afraid to throw it around, and Taylor almost got kind of no man's land, and Driscoll threw down from his knees. We saw him back in Brewster throw a guy out from his knees as well. So
I think sometimes it's a question of how aggressive do you want to be. And sometimes the Harwich Mariners catchers have been caught being a little too aggressive this season.
That's a 3-2 check swing over towards first. Did not go around to the first split umpire, Mark Delaney. So back-to-back walks issued by Joe Lasorsa. And now the runners on first and second with 2 outs. Anglers would lead this game by a score of 6-4. Maybe looking to tack on a few more insurance runs.
Just going back to the last thing I was saying right before that was sometimes they're a little bit too aggressive. I liked the throw down to first from Logan Driscoll. It was right on target, and the runner on first had just a little bit too large of a lead, and he had an opportunity to pick him off.
And you can't be afraid, even though you're throwing over the second baseman, you can't be afraid to snap it down there. As a first pitch curveball to the left-handed hitting center fielder John Rave is in at the belt for a strike. Rave so far has ground to a fielder's choice, struck out and reached on an error so far. Lasorsa comes set. And the 0-1 pitch is cut on a miss by Rave. As the count is now 0-2 on the center fielder. Warriors on first and second. Taylor on second, Greg Jones over at first. Lasorsa, after issuing 2 2-out walks, looks to get out of this half inning here. Count is 0-2 on Rave. The pitch is swung on a high chopper. Back to Lasorsa. He catches a throw on the first. Is in time as he just gets the speedster Rave. He loses his helmet on the way out as the Anglers leave 2 men on with 2 outs. Well, that will do it after 6 innings. As 6-4 Anglers lead. To listen to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network.
Welcome back in the top half of the 7th inning. The Harwich Mariners trail the Chatham Anglers 6-4 as they look to come back in this ball game as the 9-1 and 2 hitters are due up for the Mariners. Ben Norman, Tanner Morris, and Matt Gorski. First pitch from King. Swung on a line drive into shallow left field. Left fielder Sable coming on. He makes a sliding catch for the first out of the inning.
The shortstop, number 10.
Off the bat, that looked tailor-made for the left field grass and a base hit, but a nice play by the left fielder Sable robs a base hit, and there's one away in the top half of the 7th inning. And now the leadoff hitter in the Mariners order, Tanner Morris, stands in from the left side, and first pitch, a breaking ball inside for ball 1, and the count 1-0. And last time the Mariners had a rally, which was back in the top of the 5th as the 1-0 pitch misses and the count 2-0. It was the same 9-1 and 2 hitters due up, and that inning it was a ground out from the 9-hitter Norman, followed by a double from Morris, a couple of walks, and now the 1-1 pitch is cut on a high pop up into left field. Sable has an easier play this time as he takes a couple steps in, and they're 2 away in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, Mariners do still have some opportunities in this game. They only trailed 2 runs, so that 2 runs in the 5th is making a big difference right now. As they finally, if they can get a couple runners on, maybe try to move some guys around, whether depending on the situation, and maybe scratch across a few more. Again, the pitching from Lasorsa has been outstanding to keep him in this game and not allow any more runs.
Top half of the 7th inning, a 6-4 Anglers lead as the first pitch is cut on. A shallow fly ball into left field again. Coming on is Sable. And it's Sable all inning long. He ties a record that's been tied by many. And after 6.5 innings of play, it is the Harwich Mariners 4 and the Chatham Anglers 6. You're listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Welcome back inside Veterans Field, bottom half of the 7th inning. It's a 6-4 Chatham Anglers lead, and they look to add on to that as the 3-hitter in the Anglers order, Tristan English, stands in from the right side and takes ball 1 low. Anglers had one big inning in tonight's game. It was a 5-run 4th, and they chased Ricky DeVito from the ball game. Ever since then, it's been Joe LaSorsa, and the pitch is a high pop-up down the right field line. On the run is Rivera. He dives and makes an outstanding. Oh, excuse me. It looks like he's not able to come up with it. It looked like he came down with an outstanding catch, diving towards the bullpen, but it's just a foul ball.
I think he might have just dropped it as he was coming down. It popped out of his mitt. I saw it go right into the bullpen area. So just when he hit the ground, I think the ball might have popped out when he made contact with the ground.
Because if he had been able to hang on to that ball, it would have been a top 10 nominee tomorrow morning on SportsCenter. It was that good as the 0-2 pitch is cut on and grounded through the right side for a base hit. So Tristan English is aboard for the first time this evening. Now leadoff man is on base. So runner on first base, no outs in the bottom half of the 7th inning as the cleanup hitter, Michael Bush out of UNC, digs in from the left side. LaSorsa, through 2 1/3 innings of work, has thrown 48 pitches. And the first pitch is a curveball in the upper part of the zone, in the count 0-1. English off first. The 0-1 pitch misses low in the count 1-1. Bottom half of the 7th inning as the Anglers are on top, 6-4 over the Harwich Mariners. Mariners got 2 runs back in the top half of the 5th. It's a 1-1 pitch, breaking ball cut on and missed, and LaSorsa back ahead in the count 1-2.
Nice game for LaSorsa so far. Only gave up 1 hit, and that was the one leadoff single here in 2 1/3. So 4 strikeouts to go along with that as well.
1-2 pitch, cut on, ground ball through the hole on the right side again. Another base hit. Rounding second, headed to third is English, and the runners on the corners with no outs in the bottom of the 7th.
And this could be a big half inning for Chatham, if they can find a way to maybe scratch one or even two across, depending on, or even more than that, if however how this half inning ends, and maybe put this game out of reach. So they have back-to-back singles to start off the 7th inning, which, if you're Harwich, is not what you want it to happen. But
and for the Harwich Mariners, the middle infielders are back, as the catcher Logan Driscoll will trot out to the mound to have a chat with Joe Lasorsa. And Lasorsa, for the most part, has been pretty good tonight, Thomas. He has pitched 2 1/3 innings of work and has allowed 2 hits and 2 walks, but no earned runs. Both hits coming in this inning.
I think so far what's going on right now is I think they'd rather have the middle fielders back and trade maybe a run for 2 outs instead of just trying to go for the run at home plate.
So Driscoll heads back behind home plate. And George Kirby is warming up in the Harwich Mariners bullpen. Kirby out of Elon, and Driscoll went out to chat with Lasorsa. He went back behind home plate. Now he's headed back out to chat with Lasorsa, and Coach Engler comes right along with him. And I think this is going to be a pitching change from Veterans Field, as it gave the bullpen pitcher George Kirby a couple extra pitches warming up in the bullpen, and I think that Engler will buy a little more time having a little bit longer of a chat, and eventually he'll probably make the signal over towards the bullpen. I'd be very surprised if he does not. And he just made the call over the bullpen, so George Kirby will be headed into this ball game. Runners on first and third, no outs in the bottom half of the 7th inning. It is the Mariners 4 and the Anglers 6 will step aside as George Kirby will throw his warm-up pitches. Welcome back in the bottom half of the 7th inning as the Harwich Mariners have a pitching change. George Kirby comes in for Joe Lasorsa as the Anglers lead in this ball game 6-4. The runners on the corners with no outs. And with George Kirby coming into this ball game, before we talk Kirby, let's talk about Joe Lasorsa. Lasorsa goes 2 1/3 innings of work, 2 hits, 2 walks. He's responsible for both runners on base, but what were your thoughts on Kirby's stuff overall tonight?
Well, it looked like the Joe Lasorsa we've seen this whole season. His last game, he got really touched up by Chatham back at a White House Field, but tonight his curveball has been a lot better, a lot more swing and misses, really spotting his fastball and curveball better, because last time we saw a couple just hanging curveballs or fastballs over the plate, and Chatham just disposed of them all over the field, especially the fastball. I mean, there are a lot of first-pitch fastballs that are just being line drives into the outfield, and tonight that was not the case. Lasorsa pitched a lot better, and hopefully Kirby can come on and keep this game in a 6-4 lead for the Anglers.
And so the runners on first and third, no outs. The infield is back entirely. And George Kirby, someone known for his strikeouts. He struck out 7 batters out of the 9 outs he's recorded over the last 2 games versus Orleans and Catuit.
I think that's what, if you're Coach Engler, I think that's why you bring Kirby on, maybe get a strikeout to Fogel, and maybe try to get a double play ball.
And the first pitch misses for ball 1.
Chad might have put a pinch hitter on here, as Fogel was the right-hander, and now it's a left-hander. I believe it might be Drew Mendoza.
As Mendoza stands in from the left side. Runners on first and third, no outs. Bottom of the 7th inning. As the 1-1 pitch is swung on, a high fly ball, a deep left field, and a back to the track, to the wall. It is over Norman's head. 1 run scores. Rounding third is Bush. He'll score. It's a 2 RBI double off the bat of Drew Mendoza. And the Anglers have taken a 4-run lead.
And that's big for the Anglers. Now they stretch the lead back to where it was in the game with a 4-run cushion. And a nice piece in there by Mendoza, able to drive that ball deep into left center field, and Norman making a dive at the wall, but I'm going to make the catch as it won't hop the wall. And Mendoza's on second base now, and it may not be done yet.
It's a tough break for the Harwich Mariners, as it looked like everything was going quite well coming into this inning, pitching-wise, aside from that one tough inning in the bottom of the 4th, but all of a sudden, a single off the bat of Tristan English, and it was almost caught by the bullpen. And just imagine the turn of events, the difference of what would have happened if Rivera could have held on to that ball, which would have been a highlight reel play. And then, of course, it leads into another single by Michael Bush. And then a 2 RBI double off the bat of Drew Mendoza. And the first pitch to Ben Ramirez as he shows bunt and pulls back, and the count 1-0. One-0 pitch, fastball at the letters, in the count 1-1. So Mendoza leads off second. He's driven in 2 runs already on the day, as the 6-hitter Ben Ramirez looks to widen the margin between the Mariners and the Anglers. Anglers already on top by 4. As he shows bunt and goes around in the count 1 ball and 2 strikes on the left-handed hitting third baseman Ben Ramirez. Ramirez already has a single and a walk. He came around to score on the walk back in the bottom of the 4th. And he grounded out to the pitcher in the bottom of the 5th inning. The 1-2 offering from Kirby is in the dirt. Runner goes, and Driscoll can't get a good handle on that ball. So advancing to third base is Mendoza. So still no outs in the bottom of the 7th inning. Anglers have 2 runs in already and are very much threatening to bring a third in. As the 2-2 pitch, breaking ball on the inside corner for strike 3. Ramirez goes down looking, and there's 1 away in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Your attention.
A big strikeout there for Kirby. Might give him some more confidence on the mound. He hasn't shown his best stuff as we've seen before so far after the double-2 Mendoza. And then now with the strikeout, we'll see what Kirby can do the rest. I mean, he even threw a wild pitch as well, so.
And Kirby has relied very heavily upon that strikeout. He's recorded 8 of his 10 outs by the way of the K. So when these other hitters are able to hit the ball in play, a lot of them are falling for base hits. Kirby has allowed 6 balls to be hit in play the entire year, and 4 of them have fallen for hits. One of those off the bat of Drew Mendoza, and it drove in 2 runs. as the 7-hitter Rankin Woolley steps into the left-hander's batter's box. First pitch cut on and driven into right center field for a base hit. It will score a run. An RBI single off the bat of Rankin Woolley. And the Chatham Anglers are now on top 9-4.
Now batting for the Anglers, the left fielder from the University of Southern California, number 21, Blake Sable.
And Blake Sable steps foot in the left-hander's batter's box, looking to continue this this Anglers rally as a runner on first base with just one out. 3 runs already in for the Chatham Anglers. First pitch, cut on, grounder over to first. Lipsy's on a second for 1. There will be no throw back over towards first base as Blake Sable runs quite well.
Now batting for Chatham,
and so a fielder's choice to Blake Sable.
number 13,
Yeah, good decision there. You don't want to throw the ball all over the field, especially when Sable is nearly at the bag. Just don't even want to try to even have the opportunity to make an errant throw, or anything can go wrong, especially with Woolley sliding to second base.
And the Mariners pitching staff has now allowed 9 runs on the evening. It's one of those nights they've had, and for the most part for the Mariners, it's been either outstanding or it's been a game where they've allowed 8, 9, 10 runs in a game. There have been a few of those. As the first pitch to the 9-hitter, the catcher Jake Taylor is in there for a strike, and the count 0-1.
And 2 of those games right now come to Chatham, the other one coming to YD. So again, it just against those upper tier Eastern opponents, the Harsh has to find a way.
And the 0-1 pitch cut on with the check swing and fouled off to the backstop, and count 0-2. And as you mentioned, they got to find a way to get good pitching. That's the fact. I mean, the Mariners have gotten the bats going enough, especially recently against the Brewster Whitecaps. They score 8 runs in the first game. They win that one 8-1. They put up another 6 in the second game, win that one 6-0. So they're getting the hits. They're getting the bats going. But when it comes to the pitching against these upper tier Eastern Conference opponents, you mentioned it, they have had a really hard time getting anything going from their pitching staff. Two outs, bottom of the 7th inning. Runner on first base, 3 runs already in for the Anglers. 0-2 pitch, cut on and missed. And they strike out Jake Taylor, and that'll do it for the bottom half of the 7th inning. But not before the Chatham Anglers strike 3 times and lead this game 9-4. You're listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network.
the third baseman, number 28.
Back in the top half of the 8th inning from Veterans Field, and the Harwich Mariners are now trailing in this game 9-4 after a 3-run bottom of the 7th inning in which Joe Lasorsa allowed a couple of singles to lead things off, and then a 2 RBI double off the bat of Mendoza, followed by an RBI single from Rankin Woley, and the Chatham Anglers are in the driver's seat in tonight's game, to say the least, as they have put up 3 additional runs. First pitch to Aaron Shunk misses outside, and the count 1 ball and no strikes in the right-handed hitter. The 1-0 pitch cut on and popped up foul out of play. The Mariners will need a near miracle here in the 8th and 9th to try to come back and win this game. As they trail by 5, and they did a nice job to chip away at the lead back in the 5th inning. They cut it all the way down to just 3 as the 1-1 pitch, or just 2 runs as the 1-1 pitch misses outside, count 2-1. And it looked like the Mariners had a real opportunity to come back, but the 3 runs scored in the bottom of the 7th inning are really going to damper their chances as the 2-1 pitch misses outside, and the count 3 balls and 1 strike on the right-handed hitter.
And getting Aaron Shunk on with a leadoff walk or a hit would go a long way into maybe getting things going.
And the 3-1 delivery. Misses outside for ball 4, and Aaron Shunk draws a walk. Runner on first base with no outs in the top of the 8th inning.
However, Zach King has so far been dominant against this Mariners team.
The first baseman,
Mariners didn't even have a base hit off of King in 2 1/3 innings pitched.
Lipsius.
Stepping in from the right side is Andre Lipsius. Runner on first base at the top of the 8th inning, a 9-4 Chatham Anglers lead. The first pitch misses well outside and low, gets away from the catcher Taylor, and advancing to second base is Aaron Shunk. Runner on second now with nobody out. And the Mariners need runs. 1 run would be a start for the Mariners, but if they're going to really try to come back in this game, they're going to need to find a way to string together 3, 4, 5 hits in the 8th inning and give themselves a shot heading into the 9th as the 1-0 pitch misses wildly inside to Lipsius, and the count 2-0. And the pitching coach is going to come out to the mound, have a word with Zach King. Top of the 8th inning from Veterans Field, a 9-4 Anglers lead. The Mariners have a runner on second with no out, and standing at the plate is Andre Lipsius, who is ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. And the pitching coach, catcher, and pitcher now retreat back to their respective places. Shunk off of second base. Lipsius at the plate. Mariners looking to put together a rally here in the top of the 8th. They've got the heart of the order, the 3, 4, and 5 guys in the 2-0 pitch. Breaking ball cut on and missed to Lipsius, and the count 2-1.
Unfortunately for the Mariners, it's going to have to happen sooner rather than later. Not a lot of time to work things out. Only 6 outs left in this ball game.
Zach King picked up his right leg, then stepped off the rubber to look back, Shunk to the bag. He's got himself a very short lead. No one is even holding him on either. 2-1 pitch, cut on, high fly ball towards left field, headed back to the track, to the wall. You can say goodbye. A 2-run home run off the bat of Andre Lipsius has made this a 9-6 game. The Harwich Mariners have put themselves back in this ball game.
Make that back-to-back games now where Andre Lipsius has homered against Chatham. He homered back at White House Field last game out with believe it was a solo shot, so now he's got himself a 2-run home run against Chatham.
And Lipsius hit 5 home runs this past season at Tennessee. He has 3 already on Cape Cod, and they've all come recently. It was about a week ago when he had the first home run versus Orleans. That was in the first inning of that ball game. And then you mentioned it, the last time the Mariners played the Chatham Anglers, which was back on Tuesday, and now the first pitch to Casals is line right to the left fielder, Sable, for an out. It was well hit, but right at the left fielder, there's one away. And last time they played the Mariners, the Anglers, as I was saying, was a game when they hit a home run. So Mariners cut the deficit to 9-6 as Nate Eichhoff steps in from the left side, looking to get himself a base hit. First pitch, breaking ball misses low, and the count 1 ball and no strikes, and the left-handed hitter. Top half of the 8th inning, 1 away. Base paths are empty. Inning started off with a leadoff walk as the 1-0 pitch is cut on and fouled off out of play. The walk was issued to Shunk, and the cleanup hitter, Andre Lipsius, hit a 2-run bomb to left field. And the Mariners have cut the deficit to 3 runs. The 1-1 pitch misses inside on Eichhoff. The count 2 balls and 1 strike. Steps back in from the left side. 2-1 pitch. Cut on, a high fly ball towards left center field. It's going to drop for a base hit. 2 hops the wall. Eichhoff headed into second base with a stand-up double, and the Mariners have something cooking in the top half of the 8th inning.
That's a big double by Eichhoff, and now this is the first half inning where they've been starting to touch Zach King after the home run, and now a double by Eichhoff. So the first 2 hits against King have come in this half inning, and now, you know, if you're Coach Holiday, maybe you might want to start thinking about getting someone up in the bullpen or something, because the Mariners have been starting to get to King.
All of a sudden, the tying run stands on deck. And there is a call to the bullpen in the top half of the 8th inning. Mariners trailed 9-6 after a 2-run home run off the bat of Andre Lipsius. We'll step aside for the pitching change and sort things out when we come back. Welcome back inside Veterans Field, top half of the 8th inning. Mariners trail in this ball game 9-6. New pitcher on the mound for the Chatham Anglers. It is Troy Miller. Troy Miller will face off against Gabe Rivera and Logan Driscoll, the 7 and 8 hitters in the Mariners order. And the first pitch cut on and missed from Rivera, count 0-1. Now Troy Miller has pitched in 4 games this season. He started in 1. And his first 2 times out, he pitched 5 innings, allowed no earned runs. Then pitched 3 innings, and he allowed 2 earned. But his last time out versus Katuitt, 3 2/3 innings, no hits, no runs. And the 0-1 pitch is cut on and fouled off, count 0-2. And he has been very, very good for the Chatham Anglers. Has a 1.54 ERA, 15 strikeouts, and 11 2/3 innings of work.
And that's why I think Coach Holiday went to Miller out of the bullpen. Very reliable guy out there, especially now with the way the Mariners have been clawing back in this one, the 2-0 by Lipsius, and now Eichhoff with a double.
And Rivera stands back in from the right side. The 0-2 pitch. Misses outside in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the right-handed hitter. So Eichhoff leads off of second base. Mariners have 2 runs in already. It was a 2-run shot off the bat of Andre Lipsius. It was a deep fly ball to left field. The Mariners now trail by just 3. And the 1-2 pitch. Cut on, ground ball over towards shortstop. Fielded by Fryman. He'll throw across the diamond. It's in time. Nicely done by the shortstop, Fryman, to get the speedy Rivera over at first base.
Yeah, it's kind of a slow ground ball. It took a long way on the grass line a bit by the time it got to the dirt. That will make a nice strong throw as Fryman and Rivera is retired. However, Eichhoff staying at second is the other big thing. As with 2 outs, Eichhoff is still over at second base.
Yeah, no reason to try to risk heading over to third base on that play, especially with, again, if you're out trying to get to third base and it's not that important to try to get to third base, you're already in scoring position. A base hit could score you as the first pitch misses low to Logan Driscoll in the count. 1 ball and no strikes.
Unfortunately, 7-8 hitters for Mariners so far, unable to get a hit. Logan Driscoll could change things here, though, with a nice RBI single would be nice.
1-0 pitch. Fastball runs inside, and the count 2 balls and no strikes. It's Norman who stands on deck, and then it's back to the top of the order. I think it would be very important for the Mariners to get at least 1 more. That would cut the deficit to 2 runs as they head into the top of the 9th. The 2-0 offering. Cut on, line drive down the right field line, but it goes foul. That was extra bases for Driscoll, but it missed the line by about 2 feet. It would have also scored a run.
Yeah, Driscoll got a really good piece of wood on that one. Just couldn't straighten it out. It was a little bit out in front and just slightly pulled it down as it was always curving foul.
So Driscoll stands back in from the left side. Eichhoff off of second base. The 2-1 pitch, breaking ball, cut on and missed. And the count 2-2. And the Mariners looking to strike in the top half of the 8th inning and put themselves back in this ball game. They already had a 2-run home run. Looking to play another 2-2 pitch is cut on. A slow roller over towards second base. Woolley fields in a sidearm toss to first will do it for the top half of the 8th inning. We're done with 7.5 innings of play. It's the Harwich Mariners 6 and the Chatham Anglers 9. You're listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Welcome back in the bottom half of the 8th inning as the Chatham Anglers lead in this game 9-6. New pitcher on the mound for the Harwich Mariners is Tom Sutera. Sutera comes in relief for Joe LaSorsa, who actually was relieved by George Kirby in the 7th inning. And Kirby had some trouble, as well as LaSorsa. LaSorsa started the bottom half of the 7th inning, allowed a couple of base hits, then Kirby allowed 2 more. And Tom Sutera, who hasn't had action in a few days, comes in the bottom half of the 8th inning, looking to keep this at a 3-run ball game as the Harwich Mariners look to have a shot to come back in the top half of the 9th inning.
And Sutera, who has proved himself this season for the Mariners, has pitched considerably well as Anglers going with their trusted guy in Miller, and Harwich going with theirs in Sutera.
And in steps the leadoff man, Fryman. First pitcher, Brandon Fryman, is cut on and fouled off down the third base line. Fryman came on in place of Greg Jones, who scored a run back in the 4th inning, diving into home plate. He was called safe, but after the play, he was taking a little bit of a while to get up, and then coming in was Fryman in his place. As the 0-1 pitch misses outside, count 1-1. It was quite an aggressive dive back in the bottom half of the 4th inning as the 1-1 pitch, breaking ball in there for strike 2 from Sutera. And Sutera's kind of been that utility pitcher, if you will. He's started a game when they needed him to start. He's gone long relief. He's gone, 1 inning, 2 innings, whatever the Mariners pitching staff has need, he's been there. And tonight it's an 8th inning appearance when they're down 3 runs, trying to not allow any more damage from the Chatham Anglers as the 1-2 pitch misses low, count 2-2 to the right-handed hitter. The 2-2 pitch misses in the dirt, and the count goes full at 3-2. Fryman steps out and steps back in from the right side. Bottom of the 8th inning, a 9-6 Anglers lead. The base path's empty. 3-2 pitch from Sutera, cut on, and a line drive into right field for a base hit. And the leadoff man is aboard once again for the Chatham Anglers in the bottom half of the 8th inning.
Now batting for Chatham, the center fielder from Illinois State University, number 3, John Rave.
And this is something that the Harwich has to try to do, and that's just try to hold this game at 3 runs. We saw before with the nice insurance run Chatham did last inning, and Harwich came right back with 2 runs, which would have tied the game if they would have held Chatham scoreless in the bottom of the 7th, but unable to do so, and now they're playing catch up again.
First pitch to the 2-hitter, John Rave, is a breaking ball cut on and missed, count 0-1. And not only that, though, the Chatham Anglers have had a lot of success this evening getting the leadoff man on base. In 5 out of the 8 innings this evening, the Anglers have gotten the leadoff man on as the 0-1 pitch misses low, count 1 ball and 1 strike to the left-handed hitter. And when you put that leadoff man on base, you find yourself behind the 8 ball, constantly trying to work out of trouble. And the 1-1 pitch cut on and fouled back to the screen, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Rave steps back in from the left side. Sutera throws over to first to check on Fryman, who makes his way back to first base safely. Runner goes, 1-2 pitch, cut on a miss, throw it on a second. Is not in time as it gets away from Morris temporarily, but backing him up is Eichhoff. So there's 1 away in the bottom half of the 8th inning, runner on second base. as the Anglers are looking to extend their lead once again. And due up for the Mariners in the top of the ninth will be the 9-1 and 2 hitters once again. This is the third time that this group will have led off an inning. That's Norman, Morris, and Gorski, and then, if necessary afterwards, it would be Shunk and Lipsius.
And that stolen base there taken by Fryman takes away the double play. And now a single could score him now.
And stepping in from the right side is Tristan English. 1 for 4 on the evening. Fastball on the outside corner for strike one. So Terry gets a sign from Driscoll. The 0-1 pitch cut out and fouled off. Count 0-2. So Tierra's ERA on the season, 3.21. I mentioned he's coming in all sorts of different games. He's pitched as little as 1 inning versus YD, or as many as 4. He's also started a game versus Falmouth. So Fryman leads off second, 1 out, bottom of the 8th inning, a 9-6 Anglers lead. English digs in the right-hander's batter's box. 0-2 pitch, breaking ball cut on and missed. It's in the dirt. Logan Driscoll will tag out English, and they're 2 away in the bottom half of the 8th inning.
Number 33, Michael Bush.
And Michael Bush, the UNC product, kicks around some dirt in the left-hander's batter's box. The second baseman, Eichhoff, playing out on the shallow right field grass. First pitch, cut on a high fly ball to left field. Norman takes a few steps back and makes the catch in front of the warning track. And that will do it for the bottom half of the 8th inning. Mariners survive a leadoff single. And at the end of 8 innings of play, it is the Anglers 9 and the Mariners 6. We're headed to the top of the 9th. You're listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network.
Number 19, Ben Norman.
Top half of the 9th inning from Veterans Field. The Harwich Mariners trail by 3. And the 9-1 and 2 hitters are due up in the inning. Norman, Morris, and Gorski. First pitch to Ben Norman, fastball upstairs from the pitcher from Chatham, Troy Miller, who was out in his second inning of work. And for the most part, Miller has been outstanding this year for the Anglers. And the 1-0 pitch is a breaking ball that catches the lower part of the zone, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Miller had just one tough outing in which he allowed a couple of runs over 4 innings. And the 1-1 delivery. Check swing. And Norman goes around, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes as Norman was badly fooled on that breaking ball. And it'll be very important for the Mariners to try to get this leadoff guy on. It'll be the start of a rally possibly as a 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball cut on and fouled off over towards the parking lot. That's right where my car's parked. I hope I'm all right.
It's a good job by Norman to go down and get that one and just foul it off and live to see another pitch.
Count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Top of the 9th inning, a 9-6 Anglers lead. The 1-2 pitch. Cut on, a high pop-up over towards the Anglers dugout. Third baseman moves over, and Ramirez makes the catch in front of the dugout, and there's 1 away in the top half of the 9th inning.
That's a big out for Miller on the mound. Leadoff man is out, and now the Bears are down to their final 2 outs. However, the top of the order is coming back around, which is a good sign for the Mariners, and maybe try to get some offense going.
So Tanner Morris stands in from the left side. First pitch, fastball, misses for ball 1. Looked awfully close, but just missed off the outside corner. 1-0 pitch on the lower part of the zone, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike to the left-handed hitter, Tanner Morris. And the 1-1 pitch. Swung on a high pop-up foul out of play behind home plate. And Morris behind in the count 1-2.
There's actually a house over there that overlooks Veterans Field. They put a nice little porch out there, some Adirondack chairs. Nice little spot to watch baseball.
1-2 pitch cut on a high fly ball towards center field. The center fielder Rave moves over. And a quick 2 up and 2 down on the top of the 9th. And Troy Miller has done quite well for the Chatham Anglers. Now pitched 1 1/3 innings of work. Faced 4 batters, retired each and every one of them. Mariners down to their final out. It's Gorski and, if necessary, followed by the 3 and 4 hitters, Shunk and Lipsius. First pitch to Gorski, cut on, line drive into left field for a base hit. Gorski takes a hard round around first base and will pull on the brakes. So 2-out single for the Harwich Mariners, and they are still alive in the top half of the 9th inning.
And with Aaron Shunk coming to the plate, is again we've said it multiple times tonight. If you can, he is the RBI machine, but if he can maybe find a way to get on too and bring up Lipsius, who has he homered back last inning, and he's driven in 3 runs today, or 4 runs, excuse me. He drove in 2 on the home run, so.
And Lipsius represents the tying run. First pitch to Shunk. Breaking ball in the lower part of the zone, and the count, no balls and 1 strike. Gorski off of first base, 2 outs. Top of the 9th inning, a 9-6 Chatham Anglers lead. The big innings for Chatham were the 4th and the 7th. They scored 5 in the 4th and 3 in the 7th. The 0-1 pitch. Cut on and miss. Fastball up and out of the zone, and the count, no balls and 2 strikes. And the fans at Veterans Field come to their feet. They start clapping, looking to put this game in the books. Oh, 0-2 pitch, misses low in the dirt, and the count 1-2 on the right-handed hitter, Shunk.
In a way you can say Shunk is not fazed by the crowd in the SEC. Some more rambunctious crowds down there. They care about their baseball. Just like on the Cape, all these teams and their fans, they really care about their baseball here.
And the 1-2 pitch, breaking ball in there for strike 3. Shunk goes down looking to end this ball game, and the Mariners fall by a score of 9-6 this evening. And I think the problem continues for the Harwich Mariners, and it's against these top-level teams in both divisions. They fall to 0-9 against YD, Chatham, and Hyannis. And this is going to be a problem in the future. The Mariners can't find a way to beat these really good teams.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be a problem if you can only beat up on the lower tier. You're going to have a problem winning in the playoffs. You can get into the playoffs beating those teams, but you got to find a way to at least beat some of the better teams in both the East and the West. So it can play towards the end. However, they will play Orleans later this week as well, and they'll be able to play Brewster a few more times. So we'll see if the Mariners can continue. This does snap their 2-game winning streak, and Chatham, having lost 2 in a row, get back on the right foot. As I now both teams are now tied for second, but I think Chatham might move ahead of them.
So the Mariners lose this game. And let's start back in the second inning when the Harwich Mariners allowed a run, and it was the first run scored for the Anglers. It was started off with a single from McCann and then another single from Ramirez. It was off the leg of DeVito. It was one of 2 times the ball deflected off of DeVito tonight.
Yeah, no, just a couple unlucky breaks for the Mariners in that inning. I mean, just a couple balls. The one that found just the hole between, a slow chopper that found a hole. And then just the one that hit off DeVito's leg found the outfield for a base hit. So just another couple unlucky bounces. The Anglers, they'll take advantage of that.
And in the top half of the third inning, the Harwich Mariners had a couple of runs. It started with a single off the bat of Ben Norman. Tanner Morris followed him up with another base hit. And then a sacrifice bunt from Matt Gorski moved a couple of runners over. And all of a sudden, Aaron Shunk had a RBI, or had a walk, in a wild pitch. And then Andre Lipsius was able to drive in a run of his own.
Yeah, no, it's nice to see Ben Norman get in the back going again. Although it was the only hit he had this evening, is able to come up in a big way with a single to up starting things for the Mariners in that inning with Tanner Morse in the top, and then Mike Gorski again with a nice bunt, a nice sacrifice bunt that was perfectly placed. Almost beat that over at first, but again, it's a game of fundamentals, and Gorski able to move the runner over, set things up for Aaron Shunk to drive in a run, and then the sac fly from Lipsius. So those are 2 big runs set up by the bunt from Matt Gorski. So that can't really go unnoticed either, with a nice job by Gorski as well and Ben Norman.
So the Mariners led 2-1 going into the bottom of the 4th inning, and then things started to unravel for Ricky DeVito. It was a 5-run bottom of the 4th inning for the Chatham Anglers. They batted all the way around the order, and it was just base hit after base hit after base hit. They didn't have to hit a home run, but just a couple guys coming in with big RBIs.
Yeah, no, especially they started touching up on DeVito a little bit, and that sometimes happens with guys finding ways on through walks, and then Craig Jones able to drive on a run, and Sable as well. Against Sable, we said this before the game, Sable's a guy that came in very hot against the Mariners, and he continued to flex his bat tonight as he had a big RBI double in that 4th inning.
Mariners bats had a couple of base hits in the top half of the 5th inning, and they ended up adding 2 runs of their own. The inning started out, Norman was unable to get on base, but then Tanner Morris had a double with 1 out. It was a walk to Gorski, a walk to Shunk. All of a sudden, the bases were loaded with 1 out, and a line drive from Lipsius. It was a close play as to whether or not the ball was trapped over at first base by Bush. They ultimately said it was trapped. He stepped on first base. A run came in that way, and then a wild pitch with the next batter, Casals, allowed the second run to come in. That was Gorski who ended up scoring. So the Mariners at that point cut the lead, or the deficit, to just 6-4, and it looked like they were in an okay spot at that point.
Yeah, no, even though they couldn't score more when the bases were loaded, they still get 1 across on the ground out from Lipsius, and then unfortunately Casals struck out the next at bat later. But again, they were able to score at least 1, and just being able to get at least 1 is better than none. So you would have hoped that the Mariners would have gotten a little bit more, but I'm still happy with the performance from the bats tonight. And especially in that half inning, guys getting on board, whether through the walk or a hit or just anything. We saw 2 walks in that half inning from Gorski and Shunk, and both those the at-bats at-bat from Gorski really changed things to be able to make a double-digit at-bat. But they saw 10 or 11 pitches in that bat, set things up where Shunk walked on 4 straight balls. So
the Mariners pitching staff then came in afterwards after Ricky DeVito struggled, and Joe Lasorsa pitched pretty well until he ran into some trouble in the bottom of the 7th inning. But I like to start with his positives. He had a nice 1-2-3 inning in the bottom of the 5th inning. The 6th inning was similarly strong, in which he only allowed 1 base runner. And then the 7th inning came along, and it was just a couple of base hits to start the inning.
Yeah, I think La Sorsa, again, he said this earlier, but he looked a lot better tonight than he did his last time out. La Sorsa's curveball is really working well for him. Got a lot of swing and misses at balls in the dirt and balls out of the zone, which is always the good thing, which means your stuff is looking good, and hitters really can't do much with it. That's another great job by La Sorsa. Towards the end, he kind of did get touched up, but I think overall, it was a really good performance by La Sorsa to bounce back from what happened earlier in the week.
And relieving Joe La Sorsa with 2 runners on in the bottom of the 7th inning was George Kirby. And Kirby couldn't solve the Anglers' bats either.
Yeah, no, Kirby just, it didn't look like, sometimes coming out of the bullpen, especially with inherited runners, some guys just don't do as too well, and Kirby might not be used to that as well. I remember a guy that has started at Elon for his whole season, really only got moved to the bullpen until here, and so far he's usually started an inning. He hasn't come into an inning. So maybe it was a different scenario for Kirby, not really acclimated to that type of situation, and it might have benefited the Anglers tonight.
So the Anglers were able to tack on 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning. They led the game 9-4 at the time, and it looked like the Mariners may have been out of reach, but quickly in the top half of the 8th inning they responded. It was a walk from the 3-hitter Shunk, and then a 2-run home run from Andre Lipsius, and Lipsius continues to hit the ball really well at the plate right now.
Yeah, Lipsius has really seen the ball, and he's really getting used to the wooden bat. He's hit a couple home runs, 2 home runs in back-to-back games against Chatham and 1 back in Orleans. So he's really doing well at the plate and continues to drive in, and that's something to look for if Shunk and Lipsius can get things going. Those have been the 2 guys that have been the heart and soul of this line, as well as Casals in the 5-hole. I like Casals in the middle of the lineup there, especially that can really get things going for the Mariners as he has done in the past. And so, it could be an interesting lineup with a lot of guys that can, going forward, can do some damage.
In the 8th inning, the Mariners tacked on 2, as I said. The Chatham Anglers did not tack on a single run. It was a very strong performance in the bottom of the 8th from Tom Sutera. After allowing a leadoff single, he stranded a runner on second base. And in the top of the 9th, the Mariners' bats were unable to come alive. It was 9-1 and 2 hitters who had 3 innings that the 9-1 and 2 hitters led off an inning. And in the top of the 9th inning, they were unable to get the job done. It was Ben Norman who led off the inning with an out, and then Morris and the 2-hitter Gorski Gorski did get a base hit, but Shunk couldn't come through with 2 outs in the 9th inning.
Yeah, no, it was an unfortunate spot. It's always a tough scenario too to try to, especially in a tight scenario like that where you're down to your last out, and especially the way Miller got out ahead in that count with 2 strikes. It's always tough to try to climb back into things and try to deliver a base hit in that situation.
Well, that'll do it for us here at Veterans Field. From Austin Rooney and my broadcasting partner, Thomas Cinzarella, we say so long, and we'll see you on the call tomorrow at 5:30 when the Harwich Mariners host the Cotuit Kettleers.